In 1720, about 474 and 388 Europeans and Africans moved into the then new land, the United States of America. A new land that was meant to express the freedom of its people. You know, with all the work done in building this country, don't you think the people need a little more entertainment?
Oi! Get the bloody hell to work, mate. We just moved in. This bloody
Well, say no more, because one English engraver and artist brought entertainment to everybody. Want to have some gin while playing with the white wig boys in a party? Yes, please! This one popular phenomenon alone paved the way for pop culture. That's right, ladies, gentlemen, and genderless. Well, a man named Fred Douglass is creating the earliest forms of protests for equality. We can safely play card games in the comfort of our own home.
No, I think I'm going to be protesting for the protection of the slaves. You know what I mean? I think they actually deserve to have a little equality.
You already know you're stirring up a lot of trouble, boy.
Pop culture has had and still has its negativities. Over the years, when people wanted to learn about updates and other news bulletins, they would usually get it through either boards in like local towns or even newspapers. Unfortunately though, this is also a time period where people spread misinformation as well, because you know, the news was new, obviously. And one of those many misinformations were politically incorrect by today's standards. I mean, come on, have you seen the 1800s political cartoons? Yeah. Anyways, near the end of the 1800s, one of the first important black activists, a former slave, Fred Douglass, advocated to bring the black people into the Civil War. A lot of things were going on at the time, but the government had to do it. So, they brought them in to fight with the white people in the Civil War. After the war, there's a little Reconstruction time period, and since, you know, they did fight, the government basically told the masters to f*** off, and they basically gave the black people land. Actually, the blacks weren't really given that big of a land. In fact, they still had to share crops with other croppers. They're still poor as f***. So, yeah, it's... Right, it's a lot of f***. How would this benefit pop culture? Oh, hi there. I didn't see you there. Don't mind me, I just got back from a very messy time period. And a stock market crash. and the Second Great War. Oh crap, I think they just dropped a bomb now. Shoot. After World War II, America started to go back to a celebrative yet also new country reconstruction, which would pave the way to the modern era. However, there were new tensions going on, because after World War II, the Cold War started in 1947 due to a new threat of a possible Russian bombing, which would get more heated in the early 60s when Russia built bombing bases in the then popular 1950s tourist hotspot, Cuba. Fortunately, John F. Kennedy was able to resolve this little conflict by basically building a little blockade around the Cuban country, basically stopping any Soviet ships from coming in with any more military supplies. Meanwhile, new black leaders like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King created a little equality movement, the Civil Rights Movement. It was intended to really put an end to the long history of inequality for the colored. This big moment of bringing the whites and blacks together equally, like brothers and sisters, would have a big impact on future politics, and most importantly, pop culture. The 1960s brought in a big new wave of peacemakers known as hippies. The Summer of Love were on, the Beatles got high, and the music, ooh, they were filled with the soul. To show you an example of the new music made by these people, let me show you something cool. Oh! Are we on? Is it fixed? Alright. Sorry for the technical difficulties, someone played the wrong tape. Anyways, here's an example. Yeah. Look at that, Jimi Hendrix. See that guitar? See that? That magnificent little man right there. At last, the modern era. The 21st century, if you will. This is an era that will show a much more progressive shift and stable in the American culture as we know it. Yeah, look at that beauty right there. Unfortunately, as of last year, February 26, 1993, a little terrorist bombing happened, which injured thousands but ultimately killed 6. There's not much more I can say, really. We're here now. In 1990, the Cold War came to an end, obviously. The Soviet Union fell, so that's new. Those 2 towers, they are the representation of the capitalism. Yep. Just those 2 big towers right there. Oh, look at that beauty. That pure American beauty. Yeah. Technology is advancing. We now have computers that fit in our desks and all that. It's really something if you... Oh. Speaking of technology, we have pagers now. I think I gotta go now because I'm actually getting some calls for another program. I wish I could stay, but you know, Alright, you know what? Thank you for watching.